Well, hello there, Rip City. Welcome into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you, breaking down the Trailblazers' victory over the Utah Jazz, 111 to 106. If you want to get in on the conversation, 503-248-0620 is that telephone number. And of course, you can go over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and get in on the chat there as well. And let me tell you what, Not every game has to be pretty. Not every game has to be a record setter. Sometimes a win is a win, and that's what happened tonight in Salt Lake City. It was a very interesting game, to say the least. The Blazers never really felt like they were in a position to run away with this. Like, you could listen to the radio broadcast. Travis talked about it. Chad talked about it. You had Francis on there as well. Same thing. Like, it just feels like they were just like a run away for a second from putting it away, but they just never really got that run in them. I mean, they went on an 18-0 run. That was their largest run. Utah also had that same run as well. Biggest lead of the night was just 13 for Portland, 5 for Utah. And so it felt like there was times in this game where Portland was just all they needed to do was take the last step, but they just couldn't get over that little hump. And so they just let Utah stay in this one far longer than they should have. And in fact, they almost squeaked away with one late. I mean, Portland is leading by 10 with 2 minutes left. And then all of a sudden, you get Keontae George hits a crazy three-pointer foul. And the next thing you know, he hits another crazy three-pointer. And you're like, oh, okay. Now things are getting scary. It's a 1-point game. They're going to foul on the inbounds. They foul Jeremy Grant. You know he's going to the line, and you're sitting there. And Chad said it on the broadcast. He's like, all right, so then Utah's going to have a chance to tie the game. And then Jeremy Grant misses the first of the free throw. He's like, or win it. Like that was the game it was. And George had a chance late, but the shot didn't fall, and the Blazers walk away 111-106 victors in this one. But man, it was just wild, wasn't it? Wild. Like it just felt like there was a chance there nonstop for Utah to get a shot. Get a shot. I don't know why I keep saying 111-106. My mind is wild. That was leading up to that. The final score is 114 to 112. And then there's that three-pointer would have won 115-112. So, or 115-114. Numbers are bad today. My head hurts. Got thunderstorms going on. Things are crazy. Point is, Portland had a chance to really watch this one go out of their hands. Kind of like my wife likes to say with sand, right? If you take sand and you grip it in your hand and you hold it too long, it just all goes away, right? Well, they had a chance to look inside their hand and see no sand, because this was absolutely wild. That they just almost squandered it. Almost squandered it. But as I said to start, a win is a win, right? They don't always have to look pretty. They don't always have to be record setters. Sometimes you just go out there and you win. And there's something to be said about the way Utah matches up with Portland all the time, because Chauncey Billups talked about it after the game. You know, it's hard when you're prepping for one team and then you get this someone else, because no one else is playing and all their stars are gone. Obviously, no Lauri Markkanen, right? No John Collins. You're like, what's going on? And then Philip Kowski has a great game, right? Obviously, Keontae George, who's been very, very good for Utah all year long. They have their chances and they stick it to you. This is the NBA. Anybody can beat anybody, right? Anybody can beat anybody. And Utah almost grabbed their 15th victory of the year. Instead, they get helped out in their quest for lottery odds, and the Blazers, they get another little win. And it's nice. They have 2 wins in a row, and now you get 6 more games on this road trip, which is just an absolute gauntlet of a road trip for your Portland Trail Blazers. So let's take a look at the box score, shall we? KJ Martin had 7 points for Utah. Kyle Filipkowski, as I said, he had 20 points, 11 rebounds, also 4 for 4 from beyond the arc. That's not bad. Bryce Sensabaugh, he was 4 or 5 from beyond the arc. He had 23 points. Keontae George, like we said, he had a chance. He got hot there in that last minute, ended with 21 points. He was 4 of 14 from beyond the arc, though. I almost hit that last one, though. If he would have gone 5 of 15, still not great, but to hit 3 in a row to win the game would have been pretty impressive. And he's had a very good year for Utah. And then they also had 12 points from Makai Potter. And Svi Mikhailuk also had 10. On the Blazers side of things, Jeremy Grant kind of bounced back. He had a 20-point game. He was 5 of 10 from beyond the arc, 6 of 15 overall 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. Tamani Kamara, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block shot. Donovan Clingan, 7 points, 12 rebounds. Very nice to see. 2 block shots. Anthony Simons, he had 28 points, 18 points for Denny Avdia. Also had 14 rebounds. Nice double-double. 7 of 11 from the free throw stripe because he continues to set the pace there for the Blazers. I mean, they had 24 free throws as a team. He went to the line 11 times. It feels like that's about par for the course with him right now, getting about 50% of the team's free throw attempts. And it's because why? Because he pushes the tempo. He gets the ball going, pushes that tempo, and drives at the basket. I always scratch my head when people are like, oh, the so-and-so team didn't have a lot of free throws. The refs were in on this one. Yeah, they also took like 70% of their shots from beyond the arc. You get free throws by attacking the basket. That's what Denny does. That's why he can live at the free throw line. It's really nice to see. 17 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds from Scoot Henderson. He did have 6 turnovers. That was the bad, and an otherwise good game from him. 12 points from Shaden Sharp. Jabari Walker, he played 14 minutes. He was solid, 4 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. I say solid because there's something about him. He goes out there, plays those minutes, and plays them well. Right? He's gets thrust into this situation to play small ball center when you don't have Robert Williams at your disposal. You don't have DeAndre Ayton ready to go, and DeAndre Ayton will probably not play the rest of the season. So you might see a little bit more Jabari Walker than even Jabari Walker thought you were going to see the rest of the way. But it's always good to see him get in there and get it done. Now, I did say keys to the game in this one, if you wanted to get out to a comfortable victory, would be to win the rebound battle, win the assist battle. And here's the thing. They did win both of those. They out-rebounded Utah 50-46. They had 26 assists to Utah's 24. But you can also look at that and say, oh, the rebound battle was close. The assist battle was close. The shooting battle was close. Portland was 41 of 98. Utah was 39 of 48. That's 41.8 and 39.8%, respectively. And so you can look at it and say, okay, maybe this game was a close game, judging by the box score, and it was. And that's the weird part because it felt so many times like Portland could run away with it. Like you didn't think it was going to be 50-pointer like against Charlotte, but you're like, okay, Portland's going to go, hey, win this thing by 12, 15, be comfortable. But the bad part about the NBA is you can never leave the door open. If you leave the door open, teams will beat you. And Utah almost did it tonight. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. Or you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, get in on the chat there. Han and King Sydney, winner, chicken dinner. That's right. Jake says, show me your blazer. Still don't do it as good as Chad does, but that's his saying. I'm just allowed to borrow it. I'm just allowed to borrow it. Carrie says that, glad they got some easy games on here. Predicting a 5-2 road trip. I like that. That'd be nice. Chris says it's a sweet win against Utah's second Uten, right in the vets again. Empty as it gets. Hey, you don't got to be happy with that, but hey, the win is a win. It is sweet. I like winning, and that's okay, man. I also understand we've been down this road many a time, right? Of wanting the young guys to take over, and in this one, like I said, DC played all right. Jeremy Grant got his buckets, right? That's the big difference in this game versus about the last week or so of games. And then, of course, Anthony Simons. But you can't look at the back end here, Chris, and say that, okay, you did get good point production, double digits all the way around for Denny, Scoot, and Shea. And Scoot had a pretty good game outside of those 6 turnovers. So you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life, my friend. That's where it's at. All right. Again, if you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. We can head out there right now where Victor in Turkey is waiting. Let's see if Victor can make me laugh like he did last time. The 3 things that he said Americans were good at had me in stitches. Victor, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for your time. I tell you, I'm really happy that they won, believe me, because at the end of the game, it was nerve-wracking. I was getting so nervous that
yes.
You wouldn't believe it. That George blew my mind. I mean, I don't know whether he can do it I don't think he can do it every game, but the way he did it was unbelievable. I mean, I couldn't believe it that the way he shot all those trees and so on and so forth. But I'm glad that he missed the last one. a good defense by Jeremy Grant on him. The last shot. And anyways, I was really happy they got a win because I think that they have a maybe easier game Washington. I want to get your opinion on that. In Washington, maybe that easy one, but the rest of the roads are very tough. Except the Washington. So that's one thing I want to mention that. And then I want to tell you, Chris, I'm really because I always zoom on the Ant Simon. As you remember, a couple of months ago, Ant had some conversation that he was he was really down on himself and so on and so forth. The reason he's down on himself, maybe but that's my opinion. He's not. His three-pointer shot is not as crisp as it used to be when he came. In with the Damian Lillard. One time he made 10 in a row, 5 in a row. Then I think the coaches told him, okay, don't get down on yourself. Go to the line, go inside the lane, and make a two-pointer. And that's what he's doing. That's what he made 28 points. He only made three. He only made 9 3-pointers, three for 13. But from the rest of the 28 points, he made up some three-point, foul shots, and also going to the inside the game. I think the coaches told him, "Don't be down on himself. Don't be down on yourself," and that's what he's happy now. He smiled on the camera.
Well, no,
before.
No, you're right. It is. It's nice to see him happy and smiling. I'll tell you one thing, Victor. The 3-point shot of his, it's as good as it's ever been. And the thing is, it started out incredibly bad. Right, the year started pretty slow for him, and there was the questions like, what's going on with Ant's 3-point shot? And you bring up the point, it weighed on him a little bit, and then eventually, I think maybe coaches got into his ear a little bit and told, hey, just it's okay to just go out there and just play ball. We know you're good, right? Do your thing. Well, similar to Scoot Henderson, right, and the fact that Scoot Henderson has kind of been an entirely different player since the turn of the calendar from 2024 to 2025. I mean, Anthony Simons on the year is shooting 37% from beyond the arc, which is below his career average of 38. And again, early year he was kind of poor there, but since the turn of the calendar to 2025, he's shooting 41.7% from beyond the arc. That's blistering. Like that's really, really darn good. So yeah, kind of to your point, he's smiling, he's having fun, he's just understanding he doesn't have to do too much, man. Just go play ball. The thing with Anthony Simons that can get frustrating is kind of the same thing that can get frustrating with the Shaedon Sharpe at times. They're both supremely talented. Supremely talented. Go out there and show it off, man. You got some skills. Go be a great shooter, attack the rim, do those things. And Ant has had ups and downs, but the 3-point shot definitely came around, and most people were saying, hey, it's going to buoy itself out. He's too good of a shooter to let it be that bad all year long. And again, since the turn of the calendar, it's been pretty darn good. As for your other question, looking ahead to Washington, yeah, it's going to be a wild road trip. Now, I think it was Carrie in the chat on YouTube said, I expect 5-2. That'd be nice, right? If you like wins and good basketball, but it's going to be really, really hard to happen. You get this win against Utah, who was injury depleted and shouldn't have been that close, but you left the door open. I know Chauncey likes to say that, we weren't prepared for as much because you prepare for one team and then other guys sit. Well, if that were the case, like, I'm going to sit Giannis and Dame every single game for Milwaukee. No one's going to expect it. Like this is the NBA. You cannot leave the door open. Slam that thing shut. Slam that thing shut. Oh, well, it wasn't the guys we expected. Okay, well, they probably weren't expected to play or whatever it was. Make them adjust to you. Attack. Slam the door. Just like you did against Charlotte. You slam the door. You took their will away. You took their spirit away. You literally made LaMelo Ball look like he didn't want to play basketball thanks to Tamani Kamara. Do that. Don't worry about who's on the floor. Make them worry about you. I never understood that. Maybe I'll have to sit down with Chauncey and talk to him about it one day. I've just never understood that. Walk into the gym, make them worry about you. I don't worry. I don't care who's on the mound when I'm in the batter's box. I'm there to hit dingers. I didn't hit a lot of dingers. Wasn't a power hitter. I'm just saying that as a saying, all right? That's how you should be. Be dominant all the time. Now, as for the road trip, Victor, as I, get sidetracked and go off road for a little bit, that Washington game, air quotes easy, right? Washington, worst record in the NBA right now at 10-47. Okay. But the road doesn't get much easier after that. Yes, you have Brooklyn on that road trip, who's currently 21-36, but you can scratch your head a little bit because at 21-36 in the Eastern Conference, they're still only a game and a half out of the play-in. So watch out that, like, if that's a team that truly wants to build, maybe they're going to be looking for a win. We'll see what happens. But then you got Cleveland, really darn good. Philly, super injured, but you never know what can happen in Philly. Crazy things can happen. CJ Ellaby might walk through the door and get you a win. We've seen that before, right? But then Boston, Oklahoma City, like that, this is a rough trip, man. Brooklyn matches up well against Portland. Cleveland is great. Philly is just kind of a dumpster fire right now. If you would have told anybody in November that, hey, you know what? Come the end of February, Philadelphia is going to be 20-37 on the outside looking in with a very, very murky future for Joel Embiid, I don't think anyone would have believed you, right? But then again, here they are. And then Oklahoma City, we know who those teams are. I mean, you get three of the best teams in the NBA on this road trip, so it's going to be absolutely rough. You're going to take some beatings. You might learn a lot about yourself on this 7-game road trip. I would suggest, for those of you who know Blazer history, I would suggest that when they're in Boston, just take the stairs. Don't even worry about the elevator. Take the stairs. But they have 7-game road trip. They come back home on March 9th against Detroit. Now, Detroit, a much better team than I think anybody expected. I think we saw that maybe they could turn the corner given some time, but they're really doing good right now. 32-26. Cade Cunningham's been incredible. They've won 7 in a row, 8 of their last 10. They're churning, and that's going to be a fun game because that is the Bill Walton memorial game. They're going to get a lot of tie-dye in that arena. Like, if you show up to that game and you're not wearing tie-dye, you failed. You failed, which reminds me, I still got to order my tie-dye polo so I can pay my respects. Either that or, like, I mean, I guess all of them are tie-dye, but as long as you're wearing a Grateful Dead t-shirt, you're probably going to pass the test as well. This is the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. Once again, if you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. And also go over to youtube.com and get in on the chat over there. Just type in Rip City Radio and you'll find us. And speaking of Rip City Radio, get on the socials. Rip City Radio 620, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Blue Sky, we're there. Follow us to get all your latest Blazer news. We're going to take a quick break here, though. When we come back, drive of the night and shot of the night. We still got some game balls and Coach's Corner to get to as well. All of that coming up on the fifth quarter on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Blazers are 3 of 17 from 3 in the second half. Inbound to Simons, 3 on the way. Buries it. 23 for Anthony Simons. 9-0 Blazers run. They lead at 99-92. Utah took a lead, but for a very brief moment, and the Blazers now in front by 7. To the corner for Mikhailuk, fades away, corner 3, no good to beat the shot clock. 3-on-2 for the Blazers. Avdia dumps it off to Sharp, who dunks it in on the fast break. Beautiful no-look pass from Avdia to Sharp. 90-84.
Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. The only bad part about the intros to those segments is I was down with the Stone Temple Pilots there for a minute. I was playing some air drums here by myself in the radio studio. Gosh, I gave Shacker his props early, but man, music choices spot on. This is the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. You can follow me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. Also, make sure you're following Rip City Radio 620 and our insider, Sean Hyken, for all the latest Trailblazers coverage. If you want to join in on the conversation with me right now, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and get in on the conversation over there where Timmy Hammock, he said, you see what's going on in Sacramento? And so I looked, and boy, what is wrong with the Charlotte Hornets? They lost to the Sacramento Kings tonight, 130-88. 130-88. That is 2 games in a row where they've just been blasted, punched in the mouth, man. They've lost their last 2 games by almost 100 freaking points. Zach LaVine, 42 points for the Kings to lead them to victory. I also wanted to check this out with some of your stat heads out there. Maybe you can help me figure this out, okay? But I was looking at the Blazers schedule, right? And got my mind just a little bit like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Is the Blazers go out and obviously in that game against Charlotte on Saturday, they get their largest margin of victory in team history, right? Most they've ever won a game by. And so I started to think a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, what about like their other losses, right? Because they had the loss to Utah and then the 50-point losses. They're getting run out of their own gym. It's like, what is the record for in a single season for largest discrepancy between team's largest win and team's worst defeat? Because they have a 53-point win this year, and they also have a 45-point loss in Memphis. That was not in Memphis, against Memphis. That was their worst loss. 45, 53. That's a 98-point discrepancy. Like, where does that lie among the NBA records for biggest gap between your largest loss and largest win of the season? Because that could be an interesting stat to look up. I need someone to look that up for me, figure it out, or I'll just spend some time. I like to crunch numbers. We'll figure it out. Let's take a look real quick, though, around the rest of the NBA, though. I missed the scoreboard report, so let's bring it back. We're doing it right now. Final in overtime, Minnesota grabs a 131-128 victory over the Thunder. The Hawks 98, Heat 86. Wizards 107, Nets 99. Watch out. The Wizards are finding a way to win. Jordan Poole had 26 points. 76ers fall to the Bulls 142-110. Josh Giddey had 25 points, 16 boards, and 6 assists. The Nuggets over the Pacers 125-116. Nikola Jokic 18, 9, and 19 assists. What an incredible game for him. Tyrese Halliburton 19 points, 15 assists, and 3 steals. And in Detroit, the Pistons over the Clippers 106-97. Cade Cunningham, another solid game, 32 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists for the Pistons star. So there you go. Updated NBA standings right now, too. Your Portland Trailblazers mathematically still in it for the play-in, man, but we got to be realistic here. That's not going to happen. 21.5 out overall. They are 4 games back of the Sacramento Kings for the 10th spot. And again, you look at how the NBA standings are right now. Top teams in the Western Conference in order: Oklahoma City, Denver, Memphis, Los Angeles Lakers, Houston Rockets, Los Angeles Clippers, Minnesota, Dallas, Golden State, and then Sacramento. Phoenix is right there on the outside looking in. San Antonio, and then Portland, New Orleans, and Utah. Now, New Orleans and Utah definitely out of it. Portland is still mathematically there, but there needs to be a lot of wins down the stretch for that to happen. I would expect San Antonio to kind of fall off just a little bit without Wemby in the lineup. But I would also suspect that they're probably not going to go out and try to lose games. They're going to put their best foot forward, because even though Wemby's out, they still want to try to get De'Aaron Fox and Sohan and all those guys ready to go and play together. So they're still going to be viable. And then, of course, you have Phoenix, who's trying to figure it out. Now, they're not anywhere as good as anyone thought they would be, or they should be, with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on that roster, but they can still make noise. I would think, realistically, looking at this thing, like if there were a team to fall out, Sacramento has been up and down this year, so sitting there at that 10 spot with just a 1.5 lead over Phoenix, I could see them being in peril a little bit. And then Dallas, they've lost one, no AD, taking all those hits at the center position. Obviously, no Luka now, 5-5 in their last 10. Like, there's a little bit of trouble there. We'll see what happens. They still got a little bit of a, air quotes, comfortable gap. I mean, they're just 3.5 ahead of Phoenix, but there's some moving there. I don't think Golden State's going to fall out. Jimmy Butler's fit in pretty well. Minnesota is a little bit better than that record shows, but I just don't feel like there's going to be a lot of movement. Like, Portland would not only have to win a bunch, they would have to have the teams ahead them just absolutely, crap the bed. And I just don't necessarily see that one happening. You're also looking at the Tankathon numbers, which we broke down with you guys. And it's like, realistically, maybe you get back up to 5, but you're probably stuck right back at that 7 spot again. It's just mathematically, it's going to be hard to improve your lot too much there as well. So it is what it is. You go out there, play your game, see what happens. No matter what you win, no matter what you lose, just do it. And you get games like tonight. Sometimes you win, they're fun. Sometimes you get blowouts against Charlotte, and it's fun. And you just sit back, enjoy it, take it for what it is. A day that your team wins. Day that your team wins. My buddy Timmy Hammock texted me at the end of the game. Being a Blazer fan, man, it's rough. I'm like, that's just fandom in a nutshell. Just ride the roller coaster, man. Just ride the roller coaster. Today was a heart stopper, though. I know all you Blazer fans. You were ready, and it's not because you were Blazer fans, because you're sports fans. You were ready for the letdown. No sports fan is ever ready for the victory. They're ready for the letdown. That's just the nature of fandom. Like, oh gosh, he's so gonna hit this 3-pointer. Oh my gosh, and then he hits it. Like, yes, he didn't hit it. Oh yeah, go team. I knew it all along. I knew he couldn't make 3 in a row at the end of the game. You guys are crazy if you thought he's gonna hit that. Sports fandom, man. That's what makes this whole thing so fun. We get fanatical about it. That's why we're called fans, right? And if you're a fan, you enjoy it, because the Blazers go out there and they get the dub. They get the dub over Utah, 2 in a row. Still got 6 on this road trip, but it's going to be awful, awful tough, because, again, 3 of the best teams in the NBA, they get to face at their home on this road trip before it's all said and done. But we're going to take a quick little break here on the 5th quarter. When we come back, time for the Coach's Corner, hand out a game ball, and then we'll get out of here. Hopefully, my house still has power. I hear a lot of people are without power from that little storm cell that went through. Not very often you sit here hosting a radio show in Portland, of all places, and have emergency alerts for tornado warnings. That's the type of day it was here in Portland. So I hope everyone stayed safe out there, staying nice and warm, even if the power's off. Phone is fully charged, locked into the 5th quarter right here on your home of the Blazers. Rip City Radio, 620. bread fan. Another deep cut. I like it. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. You can want to join the conversation with us. 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. Also go over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and get in on the chat there as well. And I'll get caught up with the chat here in a second. But right now, it is time to head to the Coach's Corner. All righty, let's head down to Utah, hear what Coach Billups had to say following this victory over the Utah Jazz.
They hit some really tough shots. I thought we played good D on the plays. You know, Keontae hit some big time shots. But it was a lot to learn at the end of that game. You know, this is one of those games. I always say it, Brooke. It's just tough to play teams when they sit when all their guys don't play. You know, you spend so much time preparing for their guys. And then you have to play against some guys that are really good players that usually don't have the freedom. But now it's like, hey, I want to show what I got. And it's difficult to play in those situations. So it really is, you have to have a level of focus in these type of games to get over the hump, you know. And I don't think our focus was there early. We started getting a lot better in the second half. And I told our guys if we pressured the ball like we usually do and then we rebound, and we won the rebound battle, then we can win the game. It just took us too long to pressure, though. That's why they got so comfortable.
Is that what you were doing at the end of the second quarter when you guys won the 18-0 run? Because just noticing, the second quarter was the only quarter you guys won tonight. Yeah. And, you know, you look at that quarter. I mean, they went pretty much 6 minutes without scoring, and then the kid Collier hits the shot from beyond half court to close the half out. So we really got in a rhythm defensively in that quarter. And then we came out. I thought we had a pretty decent start in the third quarter. But it was we just could never really get control, you know. But to me, there's just so much to learn from these type of games. And you're going to have to win ugly games. And last game, we won a beautiful-looking game, you know. But you learn a lot more in these tough games. Well, because you've talked about that, about learning a lot in losses, and like we've done that enough. So it's nice to get the win, but also feel like there's a lot of teaching moments in this game, obviously.
Sure. I'm excited about being able to teach, you know, tomorrow with the things that happen at the end of this game. I really am excited. There's so many good things that we're going to be able to learn from, and it always feels a lot much better to learn after a win, you know. So. Get that group credit over there. They played their butts off, and I'm glad we got the win, though.
What do you think of Anthony's game tonight? It seemed like he kind of carried it.
Yeah, he did, and, you know, we would struggle so much offensively. I really felt I didn't want to play him too much. You know, I felt like I played him a little long, but I just didn't feel comfortable bringing him out. We needed his shot making and his play making as well in the game. But I thought he had a really good game. He picked his spots pretty well, when to score and when to play make. But there was so many guys that contributed to tonight's game.
All right. Time now to hand out a game ball for this victory for your Portland Trailblazers. And you know what? Who will the game ball go to? That is for me to decide, you to find out. There's options. But I do think game ball tonight, I'm going to give it to Deni Avdija. I know Anthony Simons had the 28 points. That's pretty phenomenal, too. He needed the scoring. But Deni with the double-double, 18 and 14, also had 5 assists. And then I love the way that he was able to attack, and get 11 of the team's 24 free throws. Like, I want to see more of that. Like, I need to see more of that. You can control the game when you do things like that. And I love the fact that he's able to kind of play the game he wants, right? And then force everyone to adjust to him. That's big time. And so game ball goes out to him. If I had to vote second place, yeah, I'd give second place to Ant. It's nice to see when he gets the shot going because, again, good things happen when his offense is flowing. You need that if you're the Portland Trailblazers. But you know what? Can they do it again? They get to go again on Wednesday in the nation's capital against the Washington Wizards, a team that got the win tonight. So you never know what the NBA can give you, but it should be air quotes easy, right? Just because the way this schedule is going to go, it is the worst team in the NBA. Even if they do win a game as they did today, they still are not great. So Portland can take advantage of that, get a W, because the rest of that road trip, like I said, it's tough. Brooklyn matches up well with them. Obviously, the Boston, Oklahoma Cities, Clevelands of the world. Get ready, buckle up, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. We're getting into the nitty gritty here. A little over 20 games left for your Portland Trailblazers. But that's going to do it for the fifth quarter tonight. Blazers, again, they are victorious over the Utah Jazz, 114-112 on the backs of Anthony Simons, Denny Avdia, Scoot Henderson. Everyone played pretty well tonight, which you do like to see. Wouldn't have to be a 50-point win every single night. Sometimes wins are just wins. Even ugly ones count as dubs, and that's what matters. Blazers will be back at it again, though, on Wednesday at Washington. Tip-off at 4 o'clock, which means the game day will start nice and early. 2 p.m. tip. I will have you covered, getting you ready for Wizards Blazers. Once again, final score from the Delta Center. Portland 114, Jazz 112. For Michael Shacker, for Chad Dewing, and for Brendan Slaughter, who did a great job filling in for me on Saturday. Kudos to the slot man. I have been your host, Chris Burkhardt. Portland, I'll talk to you on Wednesday.